All right, let's talk LSU Tigers. We are in the midst of spring practice, big offseason, big year upcoming for LSU, big year upcoming for Coach Kelly. Can we finally see this team recognize the talent that is on both sides of the football? There's a lot of veteran guys looking to step up, and we got some freshmen coming here doing some really impressive things. We talked about one guy on the defensive side of the ball a few days ago. Now we're looking at offense, another breakout star in the class of 2025. We'll get to him in just a second, but first, I'm Nick, that's Andrew, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, without further ado, let's talk LSU Tigers freshmen doing good things. Let's jump right into this report, courtesy of Athlon Sports. After Wednesday's practice, we spoke with LSU head coach Brian Kelly. He was asked about Harlem Berry and whether we should expect to see a lot of him this year. I'm pleased with some of the little things you need to see from a running back, said Kelly. For example, we run a lot of inside run drill that requires hitting it up inside, and 3 or 4 yards is a good run. For those of you who aren't familiar, inside run drill is what used to be called 9-on-7. There's no receivers, there's no passing, no play action. You're literally just running inside run concepts. The defense knows what's coming. It's hard for the offense to execute. That's why ducking it up inside and getting 3 and 4 yards is a really good play. A touchdown was a good run in high school for him. That was the bar. You don't know how these guys will handle that. It's a change of mindset. He really clearly understands the running back position and that sometimes a 3 to 4 yard run is a really good run. Today, for example, he had a chance to maybe bounce a play outside where he really craned it up inside and took the 3 or 4 yards, and it was the right read. You really don't coach those things. You either have a knack for them or you don't, and those early indications are really positives. I think there's a lot of really good stuff there that Harlem Berry will be playing early and often for the LSU Tigers. Miles, I know you've got some thoughts on this, but first, LSU fans in the comment section below, we talked DJ Pickett, a great corner, last week. We're talking Harlem Berry right now, running back position. What's a third freshman, right? Give us another guy, maybe an under the radar freshman that no one's talking about that you think has a chance to be the next great LSU Tiger. Give us a guy no one is talking about, but they will soon. Put him in the comment section below. But Mize, over to you. What are your thoughts on this latest news out of LSU?
Yeah, Nick, I think he will, like you said, play early and often. I think he needs to as well because this is an LSU team that they need to get it going. It's a really talented unit. I think this is a year with Nussmeier coming back. They have to hit. This is a team that, quite frankly, they got to make the college football playoff. They got to be a contender this year. I think that is necessary for everything they got going on in LSU, especially you've heard about the new NIL dollars coming into the program, a lot of money coming to pay for players. It's expected at this point. But I think Harlem Berry is that guy, and I think he's going to be a really strong player as well. They have another young running back coming through this draft class, and recruiting class, not draft class. JT Lindsay coming in, not quite the stakes of a guy like Harlem Berry, but I think that this is going to be huge for the Tigers because I'm going to read you a list of names here, Nick, and I want you to you can react to them if you hear them, but Purdue, Georgia Tech, Hawaii, Connecticut. What do you think of when you hear those names for the college football world?
Not very good.
Yeah, mediocre, not good, nothing inspiring. Those are the four teams in front of LSU as far as their rushing grade per PFF last season. They were 87th in all of college football as far as their rushing grade. Not very good is right. I don't think they were good at moving the football on the ground and getting two guys and already having one guy, especially Harlem Berry. Outstanding, just really great comments by Brian Kelly. And I think we hit this all the time. Coach Kelly really isn't that rah type of, you're doing really great, pat on the back style of coach. He's kind of, a hard A. He comes out there, no nonsense type of guy. Like you said, he's not afraid to throw people under the bus if he feels like he needs to do that. But I just think overall, Coach Kelly, just talking about some of these players, we're hearing just not even fluff. I love the way that he compliments them because he could say, this guy's really good. He's a hard worker. He shows up early. He's just really impressed me. He gives examples. He talks about the things that he sees. He talks about the guy making the right reads in practice and give clear, concise answers. That makes me feel really good that there's actually legitimate backup evidence to what they're saying about this player. So I really love what we're hearing about Berry. I think he's going to be a really great player, and he really needs to be a great player for LSU. Like I said, 87th in college football in rushing. They need to pick that grade up, but I think Berry is already off to a really hot start. He's looking like a very, very talented player for the Tigers.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, part of it is expectation. When you're a four-star guy like Barry was, according to 24/7 Sports, or a five-star guy like Pickett, the expectation is that you're going to play at a very high level very early on. And let's give credit where credit is due to the LSU recruiting staff going out and finding these quality players, making sure they bring in guys that are ready to contribute early. So credit to the Tigers staff. But I really want to focus on Coach Kelly's comments in terms of Barry understanding when to duck it up and think 3 or 4 yard runs is a win. And that is so hard for these young running backs. And it's one of those things. And I played college football. I was actually an offensive lineman a lifetime ago at the college level. And we've always had these young freshmen come in, right? They came from whatever high school and they had don't ran for a million yards and a million touchdowns. And they were everyone's superstar, homecoming king, all this kind of stuff. And they get at the next level and suddenly they try and bounce everything outside and turn everything into a touchdown, home run hitting run. And they'd have 10 carries where they'd lose yards on all 10 and they just didn't know what happened, right? And two things. One, they'd either lose confidence or it would take them a year to figure it out. Sometimes just duck it up inside and get a couple yards. As an offensive lineman, there's nothing we like more than a running back that's just willing to put his head down and fall forward for 5. Get us the 2nd and 5 so we can run the football again. There is nothing more frustrating. You will lose an offensive line, and I can say this personally, it's just my opinion. I'm not attributing this to anybody else, but you will lose an offensive line if you're a running back, if you bounce it outside, if you always try and go for the home run and you get tackled for loss. If I'm blocking a guy and I'm doing my job and you bounce it and my guy that I'm blocking comes off and makes a tackle because you try to bounce it outside and showboat and try and take over the game yourself and you lose 3 yards, I'm going to be pissed off because that's going to look bad on me on film, even though it wasn't my fault. It's going to look bad on TV. It's going to look bad in the stands. You put me in a bad position. You will lose an offensive line room so fast it will blow your mind. Arlen Berry is not doing that. And that's why Coach Kelly is very complimentary here. And like you said, he's not exactly a guy to throw a whole lot of comments around unless you really are doing nice things. I love a running back that will be physical, that's not afraid of contact, especially a superstar, a guy who's used for running for 200, 300 yards, 3, 4, 5 touchdown games in high school. He comes to LSU spring ball and says, listen, I'm okay getting to 2nd and 7. Yes, that's exactly what I want to hear. And you brought up the PFF grade being 87th. One of the things about PFF, their metrics and analytics, they're looking for winning plays when it comes to the running game. And you know what a winning play is? Getting to 2nd and 5, right? You don't need a 70-yard touchdown. Let's get to 2nd and 5. Let's make life easier for Nussmeier. Let's make life easier for this offensive line. Let's keep that defense that's still trying to figure it out on the sideline a little longer to catch the breath. Let's run the ball and be physical. There was a lot of criticism for how Les Miles, his strategy when he was running LSU's program, and a lot of it rightly so. But let's be totally honest here. There's a reason that LSU was always competing at the top level under Miles outside of their talent. It's because they played physical. They were very, very tough. They were very, very mentally, physically hard to handle. They controlled the tempo of the game. They were just a buckle your chin strap kind of team, and they didn't put their defense and quarterback in bad positions. We've seen that trend shift over the last half decade or so, where all they seem to do is put their defense and quarterback in bad positions. I want to see it go in between the two. Don't go full Les Miles, right? There's problems there. But let's get back to sometimes, just pounding the rock, running the football 30, 40 times a game, control the line of scrimmage, control the time of possessions, make it 3rd and 2, not 3rd and 10, and make sure the defense only has to be out there for 8 possessions instead of 13. You do things like that with the talent the Tigers have and their coaching staff, they can really make a serious run here in 2025.
Yeah, Nick, and just a little addition here. I think the running back grade I think is important, and I think it shows where this team was deficient. But also, I think it's not fair to leave, like you said, leave the running backs out to dry too much because the offensive line, the run blocking grade was very poor as well. They're 94th in all of college football in run blocking as well. But again, just to add on to what Barry brings to the group, they also got a lot of great transfers in here through this number 1 overall ranked out. We're going to talk about it till the cows come home. Number 1 transfer class for LSU this year, top 10 recruiting class. They also got 4 offensive linemen in this recruiting class as well. I think the offensive line, they really focused on that. The running game, they focused on that. We're seeing just a concentrated focus on where they're deficient, trying to improve from last season and getting this team back to where they need to be. So I think Coach Kelly, the plan, we're seeing it. We're already seeing, the evidence of it in practice. I know everyone says it's just spring ball, it's just practice, but like we always like to say, you can only go on what you're given. I can't show you game footage of a team that's never played in a game before. So we got to go off of what we're hearing right now. And like we said, the comments by Coach Kelly are key here. They're precise. They give evidence. They're not just fluff filled comments. He really says a lot when he says a short comment. There's a lot of really good things you can take out of it. I think it just shows overall this LSU team doing a lot of really great stuff. I think they've on a good trajectory here. I'm really excited to see how this rushing attack will progress this coming season.
Yeah, and just one final point to end on. You brought up LSU's offensive line grade, and I think it's important when it comes to run blocking. There's also no better help for an offensive lineman still trying to find itself than a guy who's going to duck inside and get 4 yards at the running back position. Again, it makes your life easier. I talked about making your life easier for the quarterback and the defense. How about the offensive line? If you're in 2nd and 6 and not 2nd and 11, where the defense gets to go full pass rush mode, it makes it easier to block, right? If you're sticking to power football inside and you're really just a group that's still trying to figure things out, it's easy to double team people, right? In terms of mentally, right? It's just we're going to work together and blow this guy off the ball and get to the next level. You don't have to do any complex schemes and try and think of elaborate base blocks or win tough matchups. All you're trying to do here is just blow people off the football. Power football does that. It makes your weaknesses less obvious. It makes the game much simpler and easier to operate. I feel like the LSU Tigers were making life a lot harder than it needed to be over the past couple seasons at times. Not all the time, of course, but just at times, certainly on offense. They're laced with talent, undeniably so, but I think sometimes it could be simpler for them. I think what we're going to see right here from the young running back Harlan Berry is that things will get simpler, and I think the results will be nothing but positive. Good stuff on offense, good stuff on defense, and more wins on Saturdays for the LSU Tigers.